We hear that Kenya is heavily indebted, 11 trillion in debt, that every financial year we are paying 1.3 trillion in debt servicing. And in this budget, they also put an allocation for debt payment or debt servicing in this country. And that was the 1.31, I think 1.4, 1.5 trillion shillings. But the question is, where is that debt that we are paying for? This money that they are saying that we are paying. Maina Wanjigi calls it, sorry, not Maina Wanjigi, Jimmy Wanjigi calls it odious debt. Who took this money? Chief Justice David Maraga also calls it odious debt. By odious debt, it means it is suspect. We cannot be able to trace it. We do not know who took this money. And if they took this money, where did that money go? Because we cannot see what we are paying for. We are paying a lot of money in debt, 11 trillion. Kenyans be angry. Get up, stand up, look at these issues. 11 trillion in debt we are paying. But who are we paying? Who took this money? Who borrowed this money? And what did this money do? Did this money end up in your pocket? Did that money end up in my pocket? If people are found in their houses with 500 million shillings under their beds, another one is found with 65 million shillings under their beds, and many others who have not been caught, where is the money that we borrow in this country? Friends, there's a lot of mischief in this government with the expenditure and the use of money. The controller of budget and the auditor general tell us it and every time how government officials use a lot of money. You know how the president is moving from this country to that country and is using a private jet that has been hired, chartered flights. The deputy president is flying all over the country. We hear that it is 1 million shillings on the choppers that he goes about, saying he's inspecting government projects, is doing development tours, etc. When the president invites people to State House, we hear they used 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. When he goes to these churches and he goes to these events to talk to people, we hear him contributing 20 million and saying how he will finish this class, buy that bus, educate this and that. The question is, where is that money coming from? A country, a third world poor country like ours, a country in the doldrums, a country that cannot finance its own budget, a country that cannot balance its budget, a country that cannot effectively pay its people, a country that cannot reduce the cost of living, a country that is in dire straits, a country that is overtaxed and overburdened by debt, a country that is reeling under suspect tax burdens. Where does that money go that we are saying we are paying 1.3 trillion in odious debt every year? We hear about, signature, 300 billion shilling deal we signed. The World Bank is going to support the government to do this and that. Where does that money go? What happens to the money? Because if the money is being borrowed and the money is being given, we've taken loans before. If you're giving money as a loan, fine. That money comes with an interest obligation and we are supposed to pay it. But what do we use that money to do? That is the question. Why should we pay for money that has gone into the pockets of a few? A country of 50 million with 1.3 trillion shillings in debt, and we cannot see the commensurate development on the ground. What are we talking about? Debt in this country is one of the elephants in the room that needs to be discussed. And that is why many people have talked about closing this country up philosophically and opening up again so that we have a fresh start, because we do not understand the head nor the tail. And that is why we are having these conversations, because we are frustrated. The cost of living is high, our pay slips are shrinked, our taxes are high, we cannot make ends meet, the environment for doing business is stifled. We have challenges left, right, and center. And yet we hear there's debt that is being serviced at 1.3 trillion shillings. That for every 30 shillings that is in my, for every 100 shillings that is in my pocket, 30 shillings of that is debt that is owed to someone. The issue of debt is very, very critical, and I'm going to do a follow-up program about Kenya's odious debt. And I'm going to call it Kenya's odious debt. And we will trace the debt from when President Uhuru was in office. I remember very well, there were 2 Eurobonds that were taken during the presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta from JP Morgan in the US, that international bank, international financial institution. And one of those Eurobond disappeared mysteriously. They say that money disappeared in the clouds or something like that. It was 1 billion shillings. If you will remember, that money was taken between 2013 and 2015. Where is that money? Who took that money? I'm going to do a program on Kenya debt. In fact, that is what I'm going to do next in our Bounce Back podcasts. Next time, I'm going to talk to you about, we are going to share and talk about where the debt is, where is the money that has been borrowed in this country. And we need to ask these questions because this is our collective country. If my taxes are being cut to pay, if my money is being cut to pay for this debt, if I'm getting reduced healthcare services because of this debt, if my kids cannot get enough capitation in school because of this debt, if my payslip is being shrinked because of this debt, then we need to find out where this debt went. And I support Mr. Jimmy Wanjigi and retired Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga when they talk about odious debt. There's money that we are paying in this country that we are not supposed to pay, and it is unfair for us. It is unfair for you, it is unfair for me, and we need to wake up and smell the coffee because it is not right. We need to get angry, and we need to get angry in this country really fast because we cannot continue having structural injustices in the form of economic injustices, financial injustices, debt injustices. It is wrong. It is unfair.